Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dominic D'Angelo of Studio1Sports.com, and I'm live here with Mr. Robert Karplis, WD Creative _ Ish. It's a Tuesday. You know what that means. We're talking a little WD Raw. Robert, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be here on a Tuesday, and I can affirmatively say, yes, I am old. I see the name of the episode. But let's say hi to some of the folks joining us in the chat. Cammy Star says, after morning all. Dre Owen says, hello, RNI. Happy Cheesesteak Day. Didn't even know
Interesting.
that was a thing, but I'm
Didn't
on
know.
board. Devin Dowling throwing out an AEO. Wanna Breeze says, hello on RNI. If you want to nick the oil and jizz of your girl, Blue Chew code rumor. Got it. Yep, this is what happens when I don't read things before I read them out loud. It's like Ron Burgundy. I'm just reading what's in front of me, and then all of a sudden, halfway through the word, it's like, all right, here we are.
Go F yourself, San Diego.
Wrestling Old Heads says, good after morning, all. I'm a happy old head as well. CM Punk, old heads rejoice. I was going to read Devin Dowling's next thing, but it started with an F bomb. So thank you, Dom, for not clicking that. But Raw was last night.
It was, Robert.
I must have gotten zapped with one of those like Men in Black things because I'm trying to remember what the hell happened.
I think a whole lot of nothing in a lot of
I mean,
ways.
the Raw opened beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there were moments of Raw that were great, and then it did its sort of decline. It's kind of like how CM Punk is an old guy, Raw is an old guy. It gets tired very early, and it just can't stay awake for the full 2.5 hours. Raw opening with Brock Lesnar, that's the shot in the arm this show needed. And the most important thing to take note, Dom, was Brock Lesnar comes out. They're in Boston. This is old school WWE territory. Brock Lesnar is a big star. And all they were doing was chanting for Obafemi.
The big thing of a takeaway from this whole Raw was Obafemi is over, big time.
Obafemi is their biggest star. I made this point when I was talking to Scott Chaplin. It's that we've been down on this WrestleMania build over the last month and a half or so, but we've been pretty bullish about WWE the last few years because of how they've been positioning people. They've lucked themselves into a situation where Obafemi, Trick Williams, Braun Breaker, and Jacob Fatu are all going to be able to carry the load of this company for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Fully confident in all that. I'm not naming any of the women because a lot of the women are already, they're still pretty young and they're established veterans. I think you're still going to get a lot of leverage and mileage going forward out of a Rhea Ripley, out of a Stephanie Vaquera, out of a Julia for the next 5, 10 years down the line. The longevity on the men's side for the guys that are sort of sitting at the top, I don't know how many more years we're going to get, Roman. I don't know how many more years we're going to get Punk. I certainly don't think we're getting many more years out of Brock Lesnar. And Brock is a guy who, I was talking about this today with Dan St. Germain, and I said, Brock is a dude who has a confidence that most wrestlers do not have. Most wrestlers are the most insecure human beings on the planet. Dom, you host podcasts with about 40 of them, so you understand that. Brock does not care. So he knows, hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm either going to get cheered, I'm going to get booed. I can look like an idiot, and I'm going to get it back. And Heyman did what Heyman does best, which is he read that audience. If that crowd was going to be pro Brock, he was going to turn him on Brock. He didn't need to do that. That audience immediately felt like Obafemi is the single biggest star that this company has for the next 5, 10 years based on that reaction. You put him in there with Brock. Brock is always the cool guy, even though he's the heel. He's the cool heel that no matter who he's in there with, that crowd's still going to cheer Brock Lesnar. We said yesterday what that promo was probably going to sound like, and it was exactly what it sounded like, that it was going to be Paul Heyman saying, you were outnumbered. You just beat up all these guys. Obafemi could have confronted you like a man, and he didn't. He's an overhyped ruler. Heyman's very good about that branding. He branded him the overhype ruler, said it 4, 5, 6 times, and started calling out the other folks who've gone after Brock Lesnar and failed miserably, naming Braun Strowman, naming Dean Ambrose, naming Bobby Lashley, bringing up Goldberg, bringing up AJ Styles. Really liked that. I like that it got a charge out of the audience. It wasn't, I'm taking shots at Moxley or whatever. It's a lot of people have gone after Brock Lesnar and they all ultimately fail. Roman ultimately failed to eradicate Brock Lesnar. John Cena ultimately failed to eradicate Brock Lesnar. So you're really teeing up that Obafemi is going to be something special if at WrestleMania he beats Brock. And Brock had no issue whatsoever selling for Obafemi on Raw.
Yeah, you make a great point, Robert. Like Brock is not afraid to show like chicken s kind of behavior, and like even his facial expressions when he get tossed out of the ring, he's just like, "What the heck happened?" And you even think about it and build to the weak build that was for the Undertaker and him back when he ended Taker's streak. He was not afraid to do that either, and it really helps elevate somebody like an Obafemi. Wrestling Old Head says he's a bit worried that Oba could get Booker T at WrestleMania. I'm not, Robert. I think they're going to do the right thing on this side.
No, because the Booker T situation was really, you're building a guy up to win the world title against a champion who doesn't feel like his time is up. And he wasn't going to give up that spot. And he felt like Booker T hasn't earned my spot. Brock Lesnar does not care. Hunter, for decades, has been the insecure one about how he's perceived his own career. And you can't really blame him because Hunter was a guy who he put his time in WCW. It didn't pan out. He goes over to WWE. They give him that same blue blood gimmick that really had a very low ceiling. He somehow finds a way to transcend that. And then they give the King of the Ring to Austin to punish Hunter. So he misses out on what he feels like that would have been my meteoric rise. So when he finally gets those opportunities, he's got to like cling to them like grim death. That's kind of what happened to Booker T at WrestleMania, combined with Booker T was a big star, not in WWE. Obafemi is the dream scenario for both Hunter and Vince. Obafemi is the former NFL guy, or former football player. He's got that look. They trained him. They built him in the performance center from day one. He's an NXT original. He's not an indie darling. He's not a kid that was wrestling at a What Culture show in Leeds, England in 2016 or whatever the hell it was. I will always take shots at What Culture. I'm fine with that. One of their guys used to rip me off all the time.
Really?
Yes. It was a big dude, Ross, something like that, would literally read my tweets as if they were his own jokes verbatim.
Oh,
Never liked that guy.
That was nuts.
Anyway, Brock knows, hey, if I can make Obafemi on the way out, that's only going to help my legacy even more. It's a selflessness that you don't get a ton. And if you just stopped watching Raw right there, you would have been like, man, this is great. What a build to WrestleMania. Show didn't end.
No, the show did not end. We had the Usos taking on the Vision, the tag team match, and the Vision won via DQ.
Did you know this was a non-title match?
I did not know. No, I did not.
I had no clue that this was a non-title match until they started talking about it. I just wasn't even really paying attention. And then they were like, well, the ramifications here are if the Usos lose, then the Vision are going to be the number one contenders. I'm like, okay. Match is going back and forth. Austin Theory is slowly morphing into the third Briscoe brother. It's something about the long pants and the beard and the shaved head. He looks like the third Briscoe. Not wrestling like the third Briscoe, but looks like him. There was one spot in the middle of this match where Cole tried to cover it where he didn't know who did the move to who. It was brutal. Jey Uso has regressed dramatically. I don't understand it. Austin Theory never really seemed to have truly captured it. And it felt like the majority of this match was telling the story of Tom Brady and Logan Paul, when, to my knowledge, they don't have a finalized deal in place with Tom Brady.
You know what? Is that what we're gonna get? No, never mind. I just got that.
I don't know. But what we got here was LA Knight comes out.
Mm-hmm.
to take the brass knuckles away from Logan Paul, and then he gives them to Jey Uso, and then Jey Uso just uses the brass knuckles.
Yeah.
So I, I it's a hat on a hat on a hat here. The story is LA Knight hates the Vision, so he wants to stop them from cheating. Jey Uso is unpredictable and a live wire. And as the unpredictable live wire, uses the brass knuckles willingly in the match to get disqualified, then acts surprised when he gets disqualified. Logan Paul, to his credit, did the great, like, wait, we still won. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then he gets laid out with brass knuckles. And then they're in the back, and like LA Knight gets mad at Jey Uso for doing what he did. So we could set up what's going to happen in the main event.
Right.
That Jey Uso is the unpredictable live wire.
This feels like a step down for Logan Paul, doesn't it? Out of everybody, I feel like he should be on a bigger platform heading into WrestleMania. Maybe they are with Tom Brady, but I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, part of it, I think, is Heyman trying to salvage the narrative of, in order to have any kind of control and any kind of power, you have to have gold. I always love that as the fuel for the locomotive. That the reason why you need all these titles is because that's the only way management's going to listen to you. That is your leverage. That is your bargaining power. So whoever has the Intercontinental title, whoever has the tag titles, the world title, they're the ones that have power. So if the idea is Logan and Austin, you guys go after those tag titles, and when you win them, now we have the opportunity. Cool.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure too. Same time, can you get behind the Becky Lynch, AJ Lee creation, and
Can you not phrase it like that? Can you get behind Becky Lynch and AJ Lee?
I didn't even know.
Those are happily married women, and I'm a happily married man, so no. Becky's promo was a babyface promo. It was, I wasn't gone for 10 years. I was gone for 10 months because I had a baby. And when I came back, rather than going after the world title, I chose to make the Intercontinental title. I made the Intercontinental title the most important and interesting title in all of sports, and I want to get it back. And she's a heel because she's wearing a puffy jacket. She's George wearing Gore-Tex.
I guess that's heelish enough, probably.
I don't know. Grayson Waller, Javon Evans. What'd you think of this, Tom?
I thought it was all right. You know, it's cool athleticism and stuff like that. But I guess it makes sense if it's helping out New Day in a way. It's helping out Javon. So I guess ultimately I'm okay, but I'm not like completely sold on it either.
It's a way to spotlight Javon Evans in a match. It's a way to let Grayson Waller get some ring time. It's a way to show that New Day is still there and in some degrees relevant. It's a little strange that, if we're in the world of kayfabe, why Javon Evans wouldn't want to be with Kofi.
Right.
This is a legend. New Day is a big cultural icon within wrestling over the last 15 years. So the opportunity to be a part of that and grow that seems kind of interesting. It's, I get it. New Day has been just poorly handled ever since the Big E turn. And now Woods being on the shelf again, which is unfortunate. Don't know. It's a little odd, but good spotlight match for these guys. Crowd seemed into it. This was fine.
I was okay. Robert, do you think it would benefit Javon to pair up with Kofi then, if in the grand scheme of it all?
I think that there's probably more value and longevity in a babyface Kofi mentoring a babyface Javon than what you're doing right now. I think New Day is primed to sell more merchandise. I think Javon Evans has that kind of energetic personality that fits well within there. If it's not him, I'd love to see a world where Big E comes back as his mentor.
Ooh, see, that would be great. I think that would be a really good way to use it. I like that, Robert.
But Paul Heyman comes out again. Another Paul Heyman segment. I would never be
Randy Orton of this show.
I will never be mad about a Paul Heyman segment
No.
until this one. Heyman was great. It was, I'm all alone. Brock has left. Braun Breaker, not cleared. Bronson Reed, not cleared. Austin Theory, unconscious. Logan Paul, unconscious. But I'm still here. I'm in the ring. Where are you, masked man? Out comes Seth. And I was like, what's going to happen? Is this Braun Breaker's going to make a surprise return? Is there a new member of the Vision? No. It was a bunch of cops. Sorry, because you're in Boston. They were co-ops.
Co-ops, dude.
Yes. They were co-ops. And then the announcers had to like do the reverse like Excalibur and over-explain something after it happened rather than before. And they're like, oh well, apparently Paul Heyman filed a restraining order against Seth Rollins earlier in the week, and now that's why the police are arresting Seth. I did like, Paul, if they would have told that story a little bit more. And you see Seth being defiant, and then Heyman doing the whole, you're going to jail, you're a felon, they're going to take away your kids because your wife's going to be busy sleeping with the locker room, but don't worry, I'll adopt your daughter, who was also name-checked in the Becky AJ situation earlier. So I guess we're building up a new Dominic Mysterio that in like 15 years' time, we're going to see Becky and Seth's daughter, Rue? Is that her name?
Ruth, yeah.
Rue. Oh.
Yeah, good job.
But that was a deep pull. She'll be main eventing WrestleMania.
Tony Gong adds, Seth shouldn't have been arrested. You have to be formally served a restraining order first. How I know that isn't important.
That is actually true. You need to be notified and made aware that there is a restraining order so that you have both actus reus and mens rea, the physical act of doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and the mental intent. You cannot violate a restraining order that you are unaware is in place. That's sort of the two hands of that. And I feel like Tony knows that because let's just say he went to law school, and let's move on with our lives. So we don't ask more questions. I don't want to ask more questions about Kabuki Warriors versus Bailey and Lyra, but I guess they realized Madison Square Garden next week, got to give them a tag title match. So we're bringing everybody in.
We're going to get some turmoil potentially here leading up for Mania, I would think. Robert, what do you think?
Lots of turmoil. Was there turmoil for your namesake Dominic Mysterio and Penta?
Ugh.
Wow.
Don't get me started. I hated everything about this. I didn't like the promos that were delivered. I did not like the match itself, and I didn't like the finish. I just thought it was horrible and underwhelming.
The worst person out of this entire segment wound up being Stephanie Vaquer, who they continue to book as if she's a heel. Liv comes out, and Stephanie just attacks her.
Mm-hmm.
Liv has not done anything truly heinous to Stephanie to warrant such an attack. So it felt really strange.
You're not serving this title, this women's world title does not feel like a big deal.
It does not feel like a main event.
No. It shouldn't be either, I don't think.
Well, it was our main event. It's CM Punk.
Yes.
It was, there was a lot. Punk comes out, talks about how I got this warning that all the Samoans are coming after me. No one's come after me. Jey Uso comes out, all live wire and fiery. And Punk goes, hey, you know what? You never got a rematch. Let's do a rematch right here, right now. And Jay's like, you got it. Out comes Jimmy to stop him. And then Jay, whether he realizes he said it or not, said, I don't care about the tag titles. So, to quote the great Scott Keith, I love shoot comments that aren't supposed to be shoot comments.
Right.
Roman finally showed up when everybody was like, where the hell is Roman? And then Jey Uso just yelling, get him. And then the show ended with Randy Orton viciously attacking Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. It ended with Roman Reigns viciously attacking CM Punk and putting him through the announce table while Punk laughed. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I will say I like how Punk executed his promo. He made the old comment feel important, even though it felt underwhelming last week. I liked a lot of the old athlete references. Big fan of that. But ultimately, yeah, it's like still this feud feels weird.
They're trying too hard to go different now because they bungled it at the beginning and they're trying to make it seem intentional.
Right, right.
I remember when I was in ninth grade, I had to take a computer class back when they're like, oh, you definitely, everyone has to take a computer class. I don't know anything about computers. I had to take a computer programming class. Didn't know anything about any of this. Was the least qualified person in this class, only class I ever took. We had to do some sort of animated video. And I created this little robot who had a little rocket on the back of him, and he moved across the screen. And because I'm terrible at coding and don't understand any of it, uh, the fire part extended behind him, and it looked like a jet stream. And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And then my teacher's like, "No, I know you think it looks cool. You absolutely messed this up. And now you're trying to cover it up and make it seem like this was the plan all along." She was horrible. I'm glad she's dead. That being said, she was a nasty, horrible woman. But lovely lady. Really, she's the best. She's the LA Knight of high school teachers.
Computer teachers.
The main event of this show was just totally insane. And now I'm wondering, so is Roman the heel? Is Punk the heel? Is Jay the heel? Is the crowd supposed to be cheering for the Usos next week against the Vision? Are they cheering the Vision, who are outnumbered by the Usos and LA Knight? It's enough to make you go psycho. And speaking of psycho,
Speaking of Robert, Sid
oh,
is your most recent WWE Hall of Fame inductee. Triple H made
now
the announcement this morning. Posted a
my
video
concern
about it.
is
Mm-hmm.
my concern is Mike Lawrence, whom we all know and love, pointed out that the announcement said that he is a legacy inductee. This means one of two things. Either it's going to be the Vader style, where you're going to get someone who's going to stand up there and give a great speech, and then his family gets to be honored, or it's going to be a little montage video, and we don't get a full-on induction for Sid.
Hope that doesn't happen.
I think it's going to be dependent on who inducts him, and to that end, it's like, well, if Shawn's going to induct him, and you're going to be able to sell tickets to the Hall of Fame to go see Shawn Michaels, Sid will get the proper induction. If not, I can see it being a video package, which is unfortunate because I've gone on record for years. Sid is my all-time favorite guilty pleasure in professional wrestling.
I think he's Rob Van Dam's too, Robert, because Rob talked about wanting to wrestle him really bad, and he never got the opportunity to.
Dude, Sid, when I worked at WWE, would have to go back and watch old WCW or cleaning up old WWF footage or ECW footage. Anything involving Sid was the absolute best. At the time, couldn't stand Sid. Sid was like this is your nadir. This is your WrestleMania 13 main event. This stinks. I go back and watch it now. Sid's a blast. It is everything you want from pro wrestling. ECW Sid wearing the jeans, doing the power bomb. Worst leg injury in the history of time and space, the choke slam, the pyro, the nonsensical promos, just an all-timer.
100%.
Sid Justice turning on Hulk Hogan was like the last relevant thing that happened with Hogan during his run.
True, right? Mm-hmm.
Big fan of Sid. I think he didn't get in when he was alive because of what happened at, I want to say it was Raw 25, where he was announced and didn't show up.
Oh, okay.
And they can only tolerate the no-shows so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But a great promo, a better crazy-ass promo than The Warrior.
Probably Heath Slater's like best legacy opponent that he had during that run, right? I'm trying to think of somebody else that maybe.
Yeah, that was probably the case, but Sid was an all-timer. I also loved when his son was on a season of Big Brother.
He was.
And it was one of those things where, because his son looks like a combination of Sid and the kid from Caddyshack.
Spalding?
No, not Spalding. Jeez, it's oh my God, I'm blanking on the name of the actor.
Danny?
Yeah,
Noonan?
Danny Noonan's character. Yeah, I'm trying to think of his actual name. I know it's Noonan. Michael O'Keefe
Oh,
was
good
also
job.
good on Roseanne, but because you could tell, because his son would do the same, like they'd be in the diary room thing, and he'd do the blinking, and you realize like, oh, it's genetic. Over under on Arn inducting him.
Definitely under.
That'd be great. Presenting him with a golden scissors. But look, Sid's fantastic. Thrilled that he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thrilled that we're gonna be back tomorrow to talk Dynamite preview and any of the other finger guns and any other news that pops up. We'll be on a plethora of platforms, including the WW_Creative_ISH X account, the at Dominic D'Angelo X account, the at SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Podcast Heat and Studio One Sports. So on behalf of the man who I swear is not homeless, despite the fact that he primarily seems to be out of his home, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
I will podcast for food.
Shh.